Every spy ring needs a man in the middle, someone who doesn't just pass messages, but builds the whole machine. For the Culper spy ring, that man was Benjamin Tallmadge, soldier by rank, spymaster by necessity, one of George Washington's most trusted intelligence officers. The agents gathered the secrets, the couriers moved the messages, but Benjamin Tallmadge built the system that kept them all alive. Welcome to our republic.
When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands,
sailors and airmen of the Allied Expeditionary Force.
Well, I think it's time we ask ourselves if we still know the freedoms that were intended for us by the founding fathers. Not
one small step for man. Those three hallowed words reverently dictate what you ought to be, what you can be, what you will be.
we pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor.
Benjamin Tallmadge was born in 1754 in New York and educated at Yale. When the revolution broke out, he joined the Continental Army and quickly proved himself as a capable cavalry officer. He fought in major campaigns and earned a reputation for discipline and calm under pressure. But his most important assignment wouldn't involve muskets or charges. In 1778, Washington needed a reliable intelligence inside British-occupied New York City, the most dangerous intelligence environment in the war. The early spy networks had been compromised. The British counterintelligence was ruthless. Washington turned to Tallmadge. Tallmadge didn't even hesitate. He already knew the men and women he could use to make it work. Tallmadge personally recruited the core of the network. Again, Abraham Woodhull, a Long Island farmer and central coordinator, Robert Townsend, a merchant operating inside New York City, Caleb Brewster, naval courier across Long Island, naval courier across Long Island Sound, Anna Strong, signal asset using laundry codes, and Austin Rowe, long-distance rider between Setauket and Manhattan. Tallmadge coordinated them all. To protect the network, he introduced code names. He became John Bolton, not the one in the news now that's under investigation, but a different John Bolton, a numerical cipher system for names, locations, and phrases, invisible ink for hidden messages, and layered courier routing so no single person knew the full operation. No single agent could expose the whole ring because Tallmadge designed it that way. Every major report from the Culper Ring passed through Tallmadge's hands before reaching General George Washington. Tallmadge didn't just forward messages. He verified sources, cross-checked intelligence, flagged unreliable reports, summarized raw data into usable military decisions. Washington trusted his judgment completely. Their correspondence shows constant back and forth. Washington asking questions, Tallmadge refining answers, and adjusting messages, methods, and tightening security. It wasn't amateur spy work. By late 1779, it was a professional intelligence network. By 1780, the greatest threat to the Culper Ring ever uncovered wasn't a British general. It was an American one, the loser Benedict Arnold. Once a revolutionary hero, now loser, had secretly defected to the British and planned to hand over West Point, the most critical fortress in the colonies. When British Major Jean-Andre was captured with Arnold's papers hidden in his boot, the plot unraveled and Arnold fled to British lines in disgrace, like a loser. The exposure of the treason sent shockwaves through the Continental Army and confirmed exactly why Washington and Benjamin Tallmadge depended so heavily on intelligence. Without counter-espionage, the war would have ended in catastrophe. Talmadge's role became even more critical when the betrayal of the loser Benedict Arnold unfolded. Tallmadge immediately strengthened security across the Culper network. Stricter courier authentication, more frequent code changes, reduced exposure for inside city agents, and compartmentalized transmissions. The loser Benedict Arnold affair proved that the greatest threat wasn't British redcoats. Sometimes it came from inside the American command itself. Tallmadge adjusted accordingly. Talmadge wasn't operating from a safe distance. British officers knew he was involved in intelligence networked, and if they couldn't prove, they couldn't prove how deep it went. If captured, he would have been hung without hesitation. More than once, Culper agents came close to exposure. Tallmadge received message filled with fear, paranoia, and exhaustion. He had to decide who could continue, who needed rest, and when to push harder because Washington needed answers immediately. Every choice made him put someone's life on the line. When the war ended, Tallmadge returned to public life. He served in Congress, became a respected political leader, and lived out his remaining years in peace. But for most of his life, almost no one knew what he had truly done during the war. The Culper Ring remained classified history, and that was by design. Imagine what these New York loyalists would have done had they known their neighbors were spies. Nothing's changed. Benjamin Tallmadge didn't just run a spy ring. He engineered a system that transformed whispers into battlefield decisions. From quiet rooms to coded ink came the intelligence that shaped campaigns, exposed the loserous traitor Benedict Arnold, and fed directly into Washington's command. I really appreciate you taking the time to listen. And remember, history isn't boring. It's the story of a battlefield that existed in the shadows and of one man who learned how to fight a war that no one could see. We will see you next time.